And I also found something in my notes from before this started that at the end of your session, I'm supposed to remind them where they can make a donation. So
Oh, yeah.
leave me a minute for that at the end.
Okay, great.
I'm in Corte Madera. I'm wondering where everybody else is coming from.
I'm presently in Emeryville at my studio.
Okay.
I'm in El Granada near Half Moon Bay, California.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Stockton.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yesterday we had, I don't know how many people were here yesterday, but give them all a few minutes to join.
Oh, it's still early, right? Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to mute myself because there's people running around in my house. So
Well, while we're waiting, should we just double check my sound that it's good? Volumes are okay? Okay. I didn't change anything from yesterday's settings.
actually, I have a question. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's a tenor you're playing, right?
It's tenor. Yeah.
I have a tenor that I bought a few years ago and it's tuned like that. Is that
Yeah.
okay?
It's okay. That's the standard ukulele tuning where the
Yeah.
G is up here. But if you play the tenor, a lot of people play the tenor with the drop G. So it's just an octave below
Mhm.
that one. So it's okay. It'll sound a little bit different than what mine sounds like because I have the drop G and yours is
Yeah.
standard G.
Would I need a different string, like maybe a thicker string? Because
Yeah,
I tried to change it and it was just wobbly.
yeah, if you wanted to play with the drop G, you'd definitely want to change the string to a wider gauge, thicker gauge, something
Like
in
what?
the. I think I was looking at them yesterday. 0.04 in that range. So this is I think this is something like 0.028 maybe. This one's maybe no. This one's 0.04 something. 0.03 something, maybe 034. This is one's 028, and this is 024 or something like that. So they get gradually thinner.
Okay.
But with a standard one, the G string is going to be thinner.
So the drop G string is, say the size again?
I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 0.04
Okay.
for the gauge.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask one more question?
Mm-hmm.
Unless I don't want to hold things up.
No.
But I was playing with my thumb yesterday. I'm a banjo player and I'm kind of reserving my fingers.
Yeah.
Is it okay to use I have this leather pick, something like that? Or it was kind of hurting. It was hurting the thumb.
Hurting your thumb, I see.
A little bit painful, yeah.
I think a leather pick is probably fine.
Okay.
If it gets a good sound, I think you're in good shape.
Okay.
I play with my thumb. The traditional. Sorry, I'm gonna. We should probably mute people until they're speaking.
I'll take
Yeah.
care of that.
Thanks. So anybody who wasn't here yesterday, Joy Hope is our moderator, our facilitator rather. She's gonna. If you have a question and you type it in the chat, Joy can alert me to a question that's in the chat or anything like that. So, so just talking about the strumming, the Hawaiian people strum with their index finger traditionally, and I just don't feel that myself. My fingers get caught on the low string, and I find it quite soft. So I don't play that way typically. So I use my thumb and just sort of the edge of my thumb. So my thumb's almost in the direction of the strings. And it gets a little bit of you get a little bit of the nail sound coming back up, which sometimes you want. If I'm playing with my index finger, I might turn it a little bit, and then I get the nail sound going down. So I'm going to leave it up to you which one you prefer to strum with, thumb or index. And let's see, looks like we're pretty close to having everybody here. So let's see, let's get started. How do you all feel about, how many people were not here yesterday? So 3, 4, okay. All right. Well, let's, why don't we review a little bit about what we did yesterday. And before I do that, there was a question somebody asked me on via email yesterday, a good question about holding the instrument and how to hold it ergonomically. I can't say that anybody actually taught me this, but I've learned it just from playing it myself. I don't use a strap, and sometimes it's nice to not have to hold the neck up with the left hand. So I usually put either my right leg up, it could be my left leg, and then have it seated where if you can see that, if you can play it like this kind of in your lap, like a classical guitar, but I find it's pretty low, the strumming for the strumming hand. So I usually put my right leg up, or even like this, because it's really, for me, it's something I learned to play around the campfire. So I'm sitting back in a position like this usually, when I'm playing around the campfire. But anyway, if the right leg's up, seat it like this, and then I sort of hang my right arm on the corner of it. It's a little bit larger instrument than the soprano ukes, so I can actually keep it in a more or less stable position without holding my left hand here. But even without that, it's still fine. You want to ideally keep your thumb on the back of the neck as opposed to sticking up behind the neck. A friend of mine who plays ukulele, and I was playing cavaquinho, he said, "Oh, my teacher used to draw a sad face on my thumb so that whenever it popped up, there'd be a little sad face." But that's actually how you play this instrument, the cavaquinho, which is the ancestor of the ukulele. Why don't I just play a couple notes? This one you play with a pick, and it's high pitched. It's got a bright sound, and it's played very rhythmically. So here's an example. So on. So sometimes I have to put my thumb on the back, but most of the time I'm playing with my thumb up. And because of the tuning, there's lots of 4-finger chords. Anyhow, that's the way you do it on cavaquinho. But on a uke, it's better to keep your thumb on the back, I think, most of the time. The tuning is a natural tuning, meaning, well, I don't need to get into that. The cavaquinho uses an open tuning, so when you strum it, it's a G chord. In this one, it's a C6. Okay, so if you're holding up here, it should just be kind of resting right there on your hand. You can get to most of your chords without moving too much. Once your finger is on a fret, then you're holding it between your thumb and whatever fingers are on the fretboard. So, but sometimes I'll open things up or let it sit on the hand. But I try to find a way that I can support it by holding the body of it. So there's my answer to that question. Great. Let's review the strum page. So does everybody have their strumming page handy? Looks like this. If you don't, I'll try to just go through them one by one. Let's just review these. Your most common sort of basic strum, and let's put our fingers in a G7 position. So that's the first string is open. Then your middle finger is on the second fret of the second string. Third string is index on the first fret, and then the ring finger on the fourth string, second fret. So there's our G7 chord. We didn't tune. Do we need to tune? Maybe we're all tuned up. I'm going to let you tune. If you need to tune to me, let's raise your hand and I'll get everybody tuned. Okay, you want to tune? Let's tune then. We've got somebody who wants to tune. Here's my G, and it's the low G. It's the dropped G. If you're playing a soprano uke or if you're playing standard tuning, your G should be this one. Mine's down here. Okay, second string. Your C string is this. And the E string. That's your third string from the top. And then the A string. G, C, E, A, or G, C, E, A. Okay, find that G7 chord again. So it's so again, for those who weren't here yesterday, sometimes I'll talk about chords as what frets each string is on. So a 0 is an open. The G is open. The second fret on the second string, so that's a 2. The first fret on the third string, that's a 1. And then second fret on the fourth string is a 2 again. So 0, 2, 1, 2 gives you a G7. Okay. Here we go. So strumming pattern, your basic strum is just 4 down strums. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the easiest one. And then let's try that skip strum. That's number 2 on the list, and it's going to have a little up strum on the end of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1. Okay, how's everybody on that one? I was thinking about that this morning. I was playing through a little blues, and I thought it would work really well for a blues. So, for example, so that skip strum worked pretty well for a blues kind of thing. Number 3, the basic shuffle. So now we're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And the upstrokes typically going to be a little less strong. We're going to emphasize the downs, the downstrokes. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Okay. And then 3A, this is my favorite variation. I like it because it puts a quarter note on the first beat. So we're going to leave the first up strum out, and it just sort of solidifies the chord. It gives the chord a chance to sort of breathe before you start more strumming. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 Great. Variation 2, useful. I don't play it myself that often, but one of the songs actually calls for it. I usually just play the variation 1 myself, but let's practice this variation 2. So 2 downstrokes, quarter notes before we start the up strums. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 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 1. Nice. Variation 3. Let's do it. This one doesn't have the up strum on the 4th beat. I'm not sure where I might use this strum, but let's check it out. So it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1. Obviously, any of these could be used for the blues, a lot of swing, some country sounding grooves. So these are your go-to most common ones. Now let's say you're playing a swing tune. A lot of times the guitar, or in this case the ukulele, will be emphasizing the downbeats a lot more. And so that upstroke is just a glancing, very, very light glance, and we'll put a lot more weight on the quarter notes. So it sounds like this: down. I'm just kind of letting my nail sort of hit that top couple of strings. You also could do something like this, where you lift your fingers up on the upstroke. Works better if you have a chord like this one here, B flat, where it's a 3, 2, 1, 1, and my index finger is barring those high 2 strings 3 and 4. So when you have all the strings depressed, you get that nice resonant sound, and when you pick them up, you get a dry sound, but you're still touching. So you depress the strings and you get the ringing, and then you leave your fingers in place but let them be relaxed, and then you've got yourself a little dry stroke. So you could do depress, dry, depress. And that's a way you can kind of give it a little articulation. A song that might use that pretty well is like 5'2" Eyes of Blue. So you're giving that downbeat, strong downbeat. And then let's just look at number 5 really quick, and then we'll move on. So country strum church lick. And this is basically like the other shuffle patterns. So down, down, up, down, down, up, down. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 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 1. Okay. How's everybody doing on the strums? Good? Okay, cool. We'll go through some of these next few tomorrow and continue on the next day. So let's take out our sheet. This is You Are My Sunshine, and let's review that from yesterday. So the chords in question here are, there's your C, ring finger on that 3rd fret of the high string, and you put your index on the 1st string to make that C7. Then you bring your fingers down to middle is on the 2nd fret of this 1st string. Index is on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. So that's a 2, 0, 1, 0 for your F. And it goes back to C. And at one point there's an A minor. That's your middle finger. I usually use my middle finger on that 2nd fret of the 1st string. Gives you an A minor. And then there's a G7, which we just worked on in the strum. And then slide that index, or that ring finger rather, up to C again. Okay. All right, let's try You Are My Sunshine. I'll give you a 1, 2, 1. A 1, 2, 1. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. A minor, please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head down and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. That last bit was just jump down to an F. C, F, C. How'd everybody do on that? Pretty good? Yeah? Most of you? Anybody having a little trouble with that one? Okay, great. Let's move on. I've got a tune in the...
Brian,
Yes, question.
before we go away from that one, we're asked, what strum pattern did you use?
Oh gosh, yeah. And of course, we reviewed the strums, and then I did a totally different strum pattern, didn't I? It wasn't exactly different. What I was mostly doing was the variation, it's called variation 1. So I tend to, I tend to vary the strum pattern between the regular full shuffle, variation 1 and variation 2. But all the while, I'm emphasizing the 2 and the 4. That's the drum set player in me coming out. That's the drummer. So I'm playing 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 1. And it gives you a little bit of that the feel of that there's a rhythm section behind you, right? You're kind of part of the rhythm section if you're strumming. So let's just do just one verse of that one more time with that in mind. So emphasizing on the 2 and the 4. So 1, 2, 1. You are my sun. Whoops. You are my sunshine. You are my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. So yeah, I'm almost always going to put an emphasis on the 2 and the 4, just because I want to do it. I want it to have that backbeat. Okay, did that help? Did that answer the question? Yes? Okay. Pulling out now, I Walk the Line, and I'm going to do this one first because it's in the same key. It's going to use pretty much all the same chords. We've got our C, C7, F, and G7. And this one does not have the A minor in it. And this is a kind of a new song to me, so bear with me if I don't sing the words correctly. I'm looking at the chart here. So this one actually starts on that G7, and it's going between the G7 and then the C and then the G7 again. So let's just work on those two chords together. So the G7, and then you slide that ring finger up and pick up the index and middle to get the C. Then you can kind of slide back, place the index and middle there. Again, anytime you have two chords that you want to pass quickly from, you want to keep your fingers in sort of in that position, ready to go. If I'm going to go to an F from the C, my index and middle are hovering, ready to go. Ready to go on the first and third strings. And then back to the G7. And back to the C. As I was learning the uke, I was at first I had like no coordination between my fingers, just being able to put my fingers in those shapes of a G7 or a G or some of the more complex ones was very difficult for me. So I did lots of this practicing going from one chord to the next and back and forth, just to get the facility there. Okay, let's try this one. I Walk the Line. And there's a little singing note. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Good. I'm going to stop there for a second. And let's talk about that strum. The strum at the top does say the variation 1 of the shuffle, and that's the one that I play the most of the time. Like I was saying, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. But you could also make it, if you look at that number 5, country strum or church lick, which just takes out the and of 3. You could use that one. So 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, and a 1, and a 3, da. Okay, so there's an option for a strum. They work together really well. So if you play one and then you play the other, probably nobody's going to notice, as long as you keep that strong 2 and 4. Okay, let's try one more time. I'll sing it, and we'll try it just a tiny bit faster. Let's see, is there yes, I see a question, or seems like most of the strum patterns are swung a bit. Is that right? Yes. For the most part in these songs that we're playing, we're going to play them swung primarily, but you could straighten out any of these if you wanted. I think it works better to shuffleize them or to swing them for this song in particular, and I think most of the songs that we're doing. Anyhow, yes, swing most of them. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone when the day is through. Yes, I'll admit that I'm a fool for you, because you're mine. I walk the line. As sure as night is dark and day is light, I keep you on my mind both day and night. And happiness, I've known proof that it's right, because you're mine. I walk the line. You've got a way to keep me on side. You give me cause for love that I can't hide. For you I know I'd even try to turn a tide, because you're mine. I walk the line. How'd that go for everybody? Okay? Pretty good? Is this sort of a little too easy for you? Would you like something more complicated, or is this pretty good? It's okay? Great. Okay, we'll stick on it. Anybody who's speaking I can't hear, but so if you want to say something, you'll have to unmute or send a chat or raise your hand. All right. So this tune could be a little bit faster. I think the original, I keep a close watch on the dun dun dun. I keep my eyes wide open. So kind of quick. Is there a question?
I do think Francine raised her hand with a question.
Oh, I didn't see it. I've got Francine, you want to ask her?
Typing is awkward, sorry. What book did these come from that have the little, whatever you call it, that shows the pattern of the chord with the song?
Which book?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where this chart came from. I got it from a friend of mine.
Okay.
And I don't know. The charts that I'm using, a lot of these I got from a friend. I like the charts. I particularly like the book called The Daily Ukulele, 365 Songs for Better Living. And it's filled with great tunes. There's a second volume of it. So it's got 365 songs. The tune Blowin' in the Wind that is in your materials is from that book. And what I like about it is that it has at the top, it has all the chords that are included in the song. So when you look at the song, the first thing you see is, oh, it's got 4 chords and I know all of them. Or it's got 13 chords and I'd have to learn 7 or 8 of them. Or it's got two chords and, so my 4-year-old daughter could play it. Or it's got 1 chord I need to learn. So let's try it. So I like that one. It gives you the first note. Shows you where the first note is, like this one does. It doesn't show you strum patterns, but it does have the melody and the rhythm of the song. So that's helpful for people who like to read, or maybe they'll learn the melody by playing it on piano if they play piano, that kind of thing.
And we've also gotten a good strum question for you.
Great.
Is it okay to play the up strum with the index finger instead of the thumb?
I say yes. I'll be quite honest. I'm mostly a drummer, and I've played a lot of ukulele, and I've taught some ukulele. My feeling, if it's music and it's good, then it's right. If it sounds good to you, if it feels right to you, and if it's getting a good sound, then it's right. It's correct. I hesitate to say that there's a right way or any wrong way to do anything. So yeah, go ahead, and if you want to do a down with the thumb and an up with the index, by all means. Okay. The main thing is that you get a good sound and that it's rhythmically, it's moving. Okay. Great. Any other questions that I've missed, that I haven't seen?
We got a good response on that one. Thank you for that. I have arthritis, and it helps to know that I can feel my way through this.
Of course. I see a raised hand from Lisa. Yeah, unmute yourself and.
I'm unmuting. Okay. What key is I Walk the Line in?
It's also in C.
Oh, it is.
But it starts on that 5 chord.
Okay.
But but that's the tonic, is the C.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, let's try this strum pattern a little faster. So just stay on the G7. A one, two, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, da 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 doom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's pretty fast, right? But it works nicely with the song. So let's give this a try at around that tempo and see how this goes. So a 1, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I keep my close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends. Sorry, I was distracted by the country strum. Thank you for that, Joy. I'm gonna cover up where the chat is for a second. So yeah, I'm using that country strum. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone when the day is through. Yes, I'll admit that I'm a fool for you. Because you're mine, I walk the line. As sure as night is dark and day is light, I keep you on my mind both day and night. And happiness I've known prove that it's right. Because you're mine, I walk the line. You've got a way to keep me on your side. You give me cause for love that I can't hide. For you I know I'd even try to turn the tide. Because you're mine, I walk the line. And how is that for y'all at that tempo? Good? Yeah, it's fun. All right, let's pull out the song called Amazing Grace. Now we're going to switch keys from C to A. And we're going to learn a new chord on this one. So yesterday we went through a few of the chords on this. We went through all the chords on this this sheet. How to read a chord chart. And so we learned the A. Let's look at our A. That's 2, 1, 0, 0. So middle finger, second fret, first string, and first fret of the second string with your index finger. There's your A. Now I'm going to add a chord on the second part of the song. So after the A, I once was lost but now I'm found, we're going to play an A7 because it's going to bring you to the D chord a little better. So all you do for the A7 is take your A and pick up your middle finger. And that's a nice walk up to the D chord, which is index, middle, ring on the second frets, 1, 2, 3. So that would be a 2-2-2-0. Second fret, second fret, second fret, open string. There's your D major. And then back to your A. And then one of my favorite chords to play is the E7. So that's going to be a 1-2-0-2. So index on the first fret of the top string, middle finger on the second fret of the second string, third string is open, fourth string, second fret with the ring finger. I just love the spread of those notes. And that's the 5 of A. So when I talk about 1, 4, and 5, we're talking about you're in the key of A. So A, B, C, D is your 4 chord, and then E7 in this case is your 5 chord. So 1, 4, 5 gives you a whole lot of songs. There's so many songs out there. So let's find that E7 again. And then, yes, question.
For the D fingering, is your index finger on, I know you do 2-2-0, but I realize that I can go either way, that where the index finger is, I don't know how to say it, on the last two, or you can switch it
Oh, I
around
see.
that way.
Like a bar, like you're barring those top 2 strings with your index finger?
No, not a bar, but if your index finger is up here, or versus the opposite way where the index finger is below.
Oh, I see. As in using finger 3, 2, 1, so ring, middle, and
Yes.
then index?
That's it. I was just wondering if you had if it mattered.
Good question if it matters or not. Again, like it doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel good to me. So
which one?
Your way with the ring finger on top.
Got it.
I have to crane my wrist a little bit to get that position, and I find it easier to go this direction to get. So if you have your A, your wrist is kind of straight below the neck.
Okay, so you're doing A here.
Then to go to the D, if you turn your wrist a little bit out towards the headstock.
Yeah. And then just do that.
Then you get, I find that easier than turning it this way.
Got it.
Inside. So probably ergonomically, this one is better for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. So let's just play these chords in order. So A, and then D, back to A, and then the E7. And then here we're going to go back to the A, and then we'll pick up the middle finger, play that A7 before we go to the D. And then A again, then E7, and back to A. Okay. Now for this one, it's in 3/4. So in 3/4, if you've got a up-tempo song, you can do some of that. You could make a shuffle, sort of a feel. A 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1. But for something like Amazing Grace, I'll play sort of long open strings, kind of slowly across, not too sharp, but like try to spread out the string plucks. So, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. And I guess in this case, I'm kind of playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. E7, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so that's pretty much the strumming pattern that I will use on a song like this as a slow, beautiful waltz. Okay, shall we try it? Okay, I'm seeing some nodding heads. Great. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. I noticed at the very beginning I started amazing grace, how sweet the sound. It would be fine to play all the strums, 1, 2, 3, if you want. But once you get, when you're singing it, the strums go right with most of the words. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. So your strumming is right with the song. Yeah. Any questions about this one? Should we do it a couple more times? And you can all sing along at home.
I think you're getting a strong yes on that.
Great. All right, let's do this a couple more times. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. And the top. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see.
You have a question from Susan. Can you use your pinky for the D?
Sure. For the D, yeah, one way you could do it is instead of fingers 1, 2, 3, index ring, a middle ring, you could move those up and pick your index finger up and play middle ring pinky. In fact, that's a very nice way to do it because you don't have to move that middle finger. You can leave it there for the A and then the D. There's an argument to be made that on Amazing Grace, how sweet, you could also pick up the middle finger and make that an A7. Anytime you put a 7 on a chord, it wants to resolve to its 1. So like An A major does go to a D, but an A7 really wants to go to that D. Right? So that it's yeah. So when you put the A7, when you put the 7 on the A, the dominant 7th, it makes it want to go to its 1.
Where's
Which
the
is
A7?
D. So it's going to be, I put it after the A in I Once Was Lost. So I put it here, I Once Was Lost. And you could also put it here after this A.
On the word sweet or where?
So if you, well, sweet is the D
The
chord.
D, right.
So it'd be amazing. A7 goes to D, and then A. Stay on A, stay on A, like E7. I once was an A7, but then I went to D, and then to A. Stay on A, then E7, back to A. The A turns to a 7 to go to D and back to A. We stay on A until we reach the 5. Back to the 1, and then we make it a 7 to go to D again and back to A. Stay on the A and go to 5 to the A. Those are my own lyrics. Hope you liked them.
You have a couple more questions here, and I don't know if you want to just read them because they're getting kind of specific about your fingering.
Okay, let me
You've
look
got
at
two
this.
more out there.
Let's see. How do I see the whole chat?
I'll just read them to you then. The first one was from Arlie. She said, also can leave the index finger from A going to D if you choose the pinky method Suzanne was asking about.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I mentioned that when you're going from the A and you leave the middle finger there. But if you're playing that A7, you're picking up that middle finger. But you can still go to the D with fingers 2, 3, 4.
And then Gail said, is there any more efficient way to get to that E?
No, I don't think so. I think you just have to pick your fingers up and put them in a new place. So again, this is something for you to practice before tomorrow, is to go from this chord to that chord. So your index and middle finger are doing this. They're switching back and forth, like so. So that's what's happening with those two fingers. And then the ring finger comes down. I make a slight turn of my wrist, kind of like when I play the D. I have my wrist up towards the headstock a little bit, and then I bring it back for the A. So I'm making a little bit of a move with my arm to put my fingers in the right position for that E7.
And the questions on this are coming up pretty quickly. The next is you only use A7 after A and before D, question mark?
In this song, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And suggestion from Larry is on the E7, you could try index, third, and fourth fingers.
Sure, you sure can. Yeah. There's so many ways you can do this. That's a great suggestion because here, if you're on the A, you leave your middle finger in place and just slide it down to the first fret. And then you put your ring and pinky on the second and fourth strings. Yeah. I always just do it that way myself, but it's good to experiment with all these options.
And
Any others?
I wanted to alert you we're down to 3 minutes, and I have just posted a chat that I hope that everybody can take a minute to look at. This is how you can make donations for the wonderful classes you're receiving, and you can do it with check or PayPal, and they give you all the details.
Yeah, please do, everybody. Great. Okay, well, we got just a couple minutes. Why don't we play this song again and maybe try some of these other fingerings if you like. This D and this E7 if you want. And here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Amazing grace, how sweet. Whoosh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna play the E7 the correct way. That's the A7 on the first one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Why once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Okay, all right, everybody. Nice to see everybody's faces this morning. And tomorrow we'll review some of these songs we've done, and then we'll look at Blowin' in the Wind, and perhaps start on one of the John Denver song. Might be a good one to start on. And I might pull out some extras if we're moving fast. I've got a couple extra songs up my sleeve that I could share with you too. Okay. Thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Ellen.
Thanks.
Hi.
Good to see you, Ellen.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.